Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and I'm going to be talking to you today about probably one of the only ways to really try to beat inflation as much as you can. Nothing fixes everything, but let's talk about what we can do, okay? Vegan Prepper. Vegan Prepper. I already have a video on the channel all about saving money, and the only way that I have ever truly saved money in my life. And spoiler alert, the way that I have saved money is by buying in bulk and cooking from scratch. And I think that that is essentially the same advice that we need as we're facing inflation and rising food costs, is to just start if you haven't started already. If you have already started, continue purchasing your items in bulk, cooking meals from scratch. And I think that that is one of the primary ways that we can fight food inflation. Obviously, as we're going, food prices are increasing every single day. But however, if I can get, 25 pounds of food for $30 today, that'll last me for a while, theoretically, until maybe, a few months from now, I might have to buy that same 25-pound bag of stuff for $40 or $50 maybe. Maybe it'll increase even more, but I will have had that entire span of time where I was using the food at the lower price and saving money because I wasn't having to repurchase it over and over and over again at steadily rising prices. I still ended up saving, I think, a lot of money, which makes it not quite so, well, I mean, it makes it annoying, but it doesn't necessarily make it, it makes it maybe hopefully a little less painful and a little less impossible to then have to purchase that thing again for $10 or $20 more because you have saved money this whole time having it. And it's just sort of that working step of, one thing here helps you save money. You're not spending money here, right here, because you already spent it. So now you have money free to do other things. And that's essentially the gist of that whole video that I was talking about before. But I will still link that down below if you're interested in looking at that. For us personally, I seem to have noticed the effects of inflation and increasing prices on food, primarily in produce. So for me personally, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm not new to shopping wholesale produce. I do that all of the time. Produce has always been one of our biggest expenses because it's something that we're constantly having to purchase fresh and constantly having to use. And I do definitely still advocate eating fresh produce. Obviously, that's the best. But at this point, I'm trying to transition most of my cooking to using dehydrated or frozen produce that I have put up from larger wholesale purchases. For example, my celery, I've got 5 jars like this over on my shelf. I mean, one of them is like down to here, I guess, because, I've been using it. And I think I originally had 6. From a few months ago, I got a really good deal on organic celery. I'm pretty sure it was about 24 bunches of organic celery. And I'm pretty sure it was $14 for 24 bunches of organic celery. I jumped on that. I got 2. I dehydrated all of it. I ended up with 6 packed full quart jars of dehydrated celery. So I haven't had to buy celery for months, and it's all organic. I got a screaming deal. And this is what I'm talking, like in my recipes, when I have a soup or whatever, I'm using my dehydrated celery. I'm not having to purchase fresh celery for, every time I want to make a soup that has the carrot, onion, celery background, right? Like that's like a lot of French cooking, I guess, and a lot of soups that we eat. They have that kind of flavor profile, and I don't have to buy it anymore for that. So yeah, I've got that on hand for a while. And so that is definitely something that helps us out. Also, this is a great choice for us because we don't really eat fresh celery in our house. That is not one of the vegetables that we eat fresh. One of the vegetables we do eat fresh, though, is bell peppers. But even still, I use bell peppers in recipes quite a lot, whether it's in a soup or in a stir fry or whatever. So let me go ahead and show you actually what I'm working on right now. It's the project that I interrupted so that I could come make you this video because I started really thinking about it, the whole thing, while I was doing my project. Let's go ahead and go take a look. Now, I'm still going to be purchasing fresh produce. Of course I am. But like I said, specifically as much as possible, in my cooking, I want to start using food that I've put up either by dehydrating or freezing. I don't do a lot of canning, but even still with peppers, there's not really a lot that you can with peppers. Or like, you don't really see like jars of canned peppers as far as I know. But basically I got myself a 25-pound box of organic bell peppers off of Azure Standard. It was $76, so that was definitely not a screaming deal like that celery was. However, it worked out to be about $3 a pound, which is cheaper than I'm paying currently locally for organic bell peppers. I have been purchasing organic bell peppers at about $3.99 a pound. And so I am going through and dehydrating these and using my super handy dandy little dicer. I guess I could link something like this below for you guys to check out, but one that's similar. I got that locally at like a local store. And I am putting them all in my dehydrator trays. Let me show you what I have so far. All of these dices are going onto my Excalibur dehydrator trays, and I know for sure that I will be able to fill all 9 trays. I'm maybe a little over halfway through, or just under halfway through the peppers. I honestly can't remember. And I know I'm gonna fill all 9 trays. So depending on how much I have left, either I will put the rest of those dices into my Nesco dehydrator, the stacking style over here, or I will end up freezing them. Peppers are a great choice for something like this because they can be dehydrated or frozen without any blanching. And so if you look up online, for instance, foods that can be frozen without blanching, you'll find yourself a list. I do have this book. It's the Ultimate Dehydrator Cookbook. And then because I know that I'm going to be focusing a lot more on putting up food specifically with dehydrating, and I have several jars already of my dehydrated foods, and I'm using them a lot now. I used to try to put them up and I considered them almost a long-term storage thing. But in the last several months, maybe like in this last year, I have realized I should be using it. I should be cooking with it. And I do, mostly in my soups, and especially in my pressure cooker. It turns out beautifully. Like you can't ever tell that stuff was dehydrated before. It just turns out wonderfully. So yeah, I love this book. I highly recommend it. I will link it down below. But I will show you the list that I made from this book, and I hope that this is not overstepping or oversharing content that is not mine. But these are the dehydrated fruits and vegetables out of this book that don't need blanching. However, there are some details for each one of these things. The temperature they should be dehydrated at, like other things, maybe tips on how to put them. So for instance, specifically with like raspberries and blackberries, she's got a tip in here for how to dehydrate those so that they don't just flatten. Like, so you can, I've seen videos of her raspberries and her blackberries, they're dehydrated, they still look like berries. It's kind of crazy. But she has tips and things like that, like tips and tricks. So this is a masterful, like she's a master at dehydrating. And this book is so full of good information. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you get this book, you will know pretty much everything that I know about dehydration. But I will show you this list. I'm saying all of that so that you know that just because you have this list doesn't necessarily mean you have all of the information. Like for instance, again, the temperatures are missing and whatnot, but you should be able to pause and kind of see the list. And then you can kind of go from there and know that, you know, potentially it'll be pretty easy to dehydrate anything that's on that list because you don't have to blanch it first. But, you know, a word about blanching. Honestly, blanching is not that hard. If you have one of those pots with the pasta strainer insert, blanching is really not hard at all. It's just when you are dealing though with, say, a 25-pound box of something, or you're dealing with a huge amount, yes, it can become kind of overwhelming to blanch. Sorry, that was like a hiccup or some, I don't know what that was. But anyway, it became kind of overwhelming to blanch that much food. So the way that I get around that oftentimes, well, actually, let me just grab a jar. I'll show. The way I often get around it is by roasting first. And so this is cauliflower. I have a video on the channel too with my cauliflower. I got a really crazy good deal on my cauliflower as well. I got a ton of organic cauliflower and I just basically roasted it and then I dehydrated it. So I roasted, you know, several trays and it just ended up working out really well. It took some time, obviously, and I kind of had to go a little bit at a time, but also luckily cauliflower is something that lasts in the fridge for a good amount of time. And so I was able to go through that whole process and get a whole bunch of it dehydrated and ready to go. And I'm still using it in my recipes today. Obviously, if you can grow a ton of your own produce, that's great. I definitely hesitate to give the blanket advice to just start a garden, because I actually just did a video on this. There's more to it than that. If you possess the room, the time, the ability, the physical ability to actually get some work done, if you have that space for that in your life, both physically in the space to grow and physically in your body to do it, and physically in the slot of time that you have in your life for growing things, if you possess all of that and the resources to begin a garden, then by all means, go ahead and begin a garden. Although ideally after you've already done some stocking. But however, a lot of us are not in that situation. A lot of us live in the city. We don't have a lot of room to grow. So I give that advice hesitatingly. Not because gardening is not good, but because I understand that gardening is not accessible to everybody, which is why I sort of hedge my advice with gardening. I have my own garden. We've been gardening here now for about 9 years. We do definitely pull in some produce. Actually, we save the most money in winter on greens, of all things. I grow greens really well in my area. And so the best way probably to stave off inflation is honestly being able to grow your own food. But I think a lot of it has to do with whether or not you're able to do that, which is why I'm not necessarily funneling a lot of my advice in that way. Although I would like to start doing some gardening videos again pretty soon. But yeah, that's kind of why I talk about it. Obviously, if you can, that would be great, but many people can't. I also think it's possible that many people can do more than they think that they can. But generally speaking, I think it's good. Focus on stocking up food in bulk now, pay today's price for a larger amount, so that you won't have to pay more tomorrow, and then sort of do that one at a time, and then you can sort of just shift your pieces. It's like just moving your whatever chess pieces, playing Tetris with your money almost, and figuring out where it can go so that you have room over here for something else, and then, you know, hopefully save enough that, again, later when you need to pay a higher price, it will hopefully not be quite as painful. So anyway, hopefully you got anything out of that at all. Check out that video that I talked about buying in bulk and cooking from scratch, and how much that can really change things. But I think that is still, personally, I think it still is the best advice moving forward facing inflation. Obviously, it would be really nice if it would get fixed, but it doesn't look like it's going to get fixed, especially because it's like they're literally having a party. They're literally fiddling while Rome burns, having a party with the stock market right here crashing. And it's like, we're doing so great. Oh, we're doing so great. Oh my gosh, you guys. Anyway, sorry. I should not put that in. But you know what? Everybody's mad about it. So I feel a little bit safe saying that. Sorry, I know I'm dating my video here. I feel a little safe saying that because pretty much everybody I've talked to is super annoyed about that, whatever their political affiliation. So I feel safe saying that. Okay. Anyway, you guys, we're not going to get help. Okay. We have to help ourselves and each other. And I think that more and more we are realizing that. And I think that more and more everybody's realizing that, which is why we're getting more and more people who are becoming prepared, which is a beautiful thing. Let's like, we're seeing it as a positive. We are learning to be more self-sufficient because it's a good thing. It's a positive. It's all positive. Let's move forward. But yeah, prepare. But yes, I think bulk, cook from scratch. It's your best chance. We have to do it for ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us. Okay. See you guys later in the next one. As always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.